Hey all, and welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be making some window reflectix for the Jeep. For those of you that may or may not know, we actually sleep on a sleeping platform in the back of the Jeep. The window reflectix will help us with temperature control as well as a little bit of privacy when we're out on the trails. We're heading to Utah and Colorado in September, and we want to make sure that we're as comfortable as possible on this super long road trip. So stay tuned. So here are the supplies that I'm using. I have some reflective insulation. I also have some velour type material and also some 3M adhesive spray, a couple pairs of scissors, a ruler, and a Sharpie. Now with this project, I'm going a little bit above and beyond. Well, I hope. We'll see if this turns out okay, but this material is not required for this project, but I'm going to show you how I cut out the reflectix first, and then why and how I'm gonna be using the material later on. So I have my measurements, and I will put these measurements down in the comments for those of you that have a JKU and want to use my measurements. Now, understand that I am no genius when it comes to detail, so hopefully these will turn out okay, and these measurements will work for you. So those are the measurements in the comments. All right, so I'm gonna take the roller reflectix. Now what you want to do is the measurements that I put in the comments will be about 1/4 of an inch larger than what your window actually is, or that's what it should be, because you want this to fit tightly. If it's the exact same size as the window, then it may not fit in there as securely. So I'm going to give you measurements with 1/4 of an inch. You know, I say all this in this video. At the end of the day, if I mess it up, I'll make sure that you have the good measurements in the comments, okay? All right, so bear with me. All right, so the first one, I'm gonna do the back windows first because they're square-ish. The front window, if you notice, it has a slant down, so what's gonna happen is I'm gonna make it, I'm making the measurement based off the big area on the bottom, and then I'll cut it to size up at the top. So we'll get to that. So, first one. So I have the 24-inch wide material, which is perfect because this is going to help me to save on some material in the long run, because this material is 24 inches wide. So yeah. So 24 by 17 is what I need. All right, so let's start there. All right, that's the 17 by 24. Let's lift this up just a bit. Okay, so I'm gonna take the first panel, and we're gonna stick it on the inside. And what you want is I'm putting it in the bottom first because you want it to kind of fall into that little groove in the window so that it will stay up. And you want to leave about 1/4 of an inch all around the edges. So now if you notice up here at the top, it's gonna be a little large, and that's okay. I'm gonna use my Sharpie, and I'm gonna draw a line where I need to trim it. I never said my lines were straight. Okay, so now let's trim that. So you're gonna cut right outside of the red line so that you'll have that little bit of space that you need to stay inside the window. All right, so now let me test this one. Nice. Maybe just a little bit off that corner right there, but now you can see how the reflectix just stood up in there. Just like that. So, now I'm gonna go and super speed through the rest of this and show you how I do the rest of them. Again, you want to fit it into the grooves of the window. And then you're going to go around the edges and score it, or draw a mark, or use your marker to get it test fitted perfectly. Now again, cut right along the outside of your mark. All right, let's test it. All right, that works. I did cut a little too much off here, but I think that's gonna be okay. Okay, so that one has tested out good. So I'm labeling them as I go for front passenger, rear passenger, driver front, driver rear, that sort of thing. Passenger. Yeah, so see how I cut this one? I'm gonna have some material that I've lost, unfortunately. So that's why I say I have the 24 inch. You may want to go with one that's wider so that you can save on that material. Maybe a 30 inch I think would be ideal. I think that could work. Yeah, maybe I'll put that in the comments as well. So next I'm going to work on the very rear, the trunk space. Go ahead and cut 2 of these because I know I need to. There's 2 damn windows. I know, I'm a freaking genius. Here all day, folks. Here all day. Super speed the cutting. How straight is that? Do better. Do better. Cut straight. Is that any straighter? I mean, it's a little better, but come on, jeez. Hope y'all can cut straight lines, because I sure as hell can't. All right, let's go fit it. All right, so it's gonna require a few cuts. Quite a few cuts actually. So let's, I just used my nails and kind of scored it. So let's go trim it down. Okay, after trial and error times 100, I finally have it to work. Now, before any of you amazing YouTube people come firing at me about how stupid I am, I get it. I'm not the smartest chick in the block. Measure the inside, because look at the difference. I don't know if you can see. The difference between the outside and the inside. Measure the inside and add 1/4 inch all the way around, and you should be good. As a matter of fact, you may not want to follow my measurements, okay? Just saying. All right. So now I'm just going to draw the lines for the second one, and we should be good to go. So let's start on the windshield. So I know I told you guys that you can keep the reflectix just as they are. You don't have to do anything else. Once you cut these to size, you can just roll them up and keep them in the Jeep. Now, the material that I bought, I'm going to be using that on the back side of it. I'm doing that just to give it a little more insulation. If you've watched any of our past YouTube excursions or adventures or overlanding trips or anything of that nature, you have seen us Jeep camping in the winter, and it gets really, really cold in there. So I'm hoping that with a little bit of added insulation to the back of these reflectix, that's going to help keep the temperature controlled a little bit more and maybe cut down on some of the cold inside the Jeep when we're sleeping. So that's the reason for the added material. It is one extra step, but I think that it's going to be worth it in the long run. I suck at straight lines. Suck. I'm not even going to let y'all see that. Okay, after multiple trials, I now have a windshield piece. All right, so now I'm going to move to the trunk piece. Now, at least with this one, I was smarter and I measured from the inside. So hopefully this won't take me 10 different tries. So let's get to it. Okay, so something I didn't show you is the back glass. It has the motor for the wiper plus the gaskets, is that what they're called, to lift the tailgate glass up. So you're gonna have to draw around that. So if you notice, this is all the various lines. So once you cut your large piece, you're gonna have to get in there, press it against the window, and draw your lines to be able to fit it directly around all those components back there. So let's get to cutting. Okay, so I've got it all sized up and fitted into each of the windows. And as you can see, it's already much more private in here. And I'm telling you, I'm out here in 90-degree heat and it's much cooler inside the Jeep as well. So if that's where you want to stop, the reflectix are just fine. All you have to do is stack them on top of one another, roll them up, and then put them in some place to store them inside the Jeep. They're very, very soft and easy to store. But as I told you earlier, I also have some material that I want to put on the back of these reflectix to provide some additional temperature control, and just because they look cool. So if you've learned enough, then thanks for joining us. And if you want to see what I do with the material, then let's just get going. As I said, I'm going to put a material backing on these reflectix, and this is just some I don't know what it's called. It's just thick, fuzzy shit. So anyway, I'm going to use this to put on the one side of the reflectix. So I want it to be on the side that faces inside the Jeep. So you need to make sure that you've gone through and marked inside, outside on your pieces before you start measuring. The cool thing is now we have a template, unlike my magnificent measurements that we did. So what I'm gonna do is lay out this material. In hopes that I have enough of it. And as I said, I want it on the part that faces inside the Jeep. All right? So make sure you go through and mark that. So now I'm just gonna take and draw on the material. I guess it would have been better if I used something other than a red marker on red material. Y'all, I never claimed to be the brightest, okay? I'm just full of sassiness and nasty words, that's all. All right, so this is for the rear glass. All right, I can see that enough. I can see it barely enough, but I can see it. All right, so I'm gonna cut that out. Talk about barely enough for real. And you wanna go right outside your lines again to make sure that you're gonna be able to cover all of the reflectix. Okay, so now I have some 3M Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive. It dries quick, holds fast. So yeah, this is what I'm gonna use, and I'm actually going to spray it on the reflectix first. So again, make sure that you know which side, if it's gonna be the part that goes outside or the part that goes inside, that you want to actually cover. And I want to cover the part that goes inside. So you want to spray a good coat. I'm going to start one section at a time. Let's see how badly I screw this up, okay? Nice. Give that some time to dry. And you do want to do this outside because it smells pretty strong and it's pretty messy. Well, and I had a better thought too, now that I'm already doing this, is that it might be better to lay the reflectix down on a piece of material and then cut the material around the reflectix. We may try that one on the next one. So now all I have to do is trim the excess. So now I have these nice pretty reflectix with some added insulation to them. Nice. So now I'm just gonna let these dry and I'll move on to cutting out the rest of the pieces. All right, as I said previously, it might make more sense to spray this and place it on the material. So we're gonna try that. And I'm not gonna ruin my table. Oh yeah, that's gonna be much better. Spray the reflectix, lay it out on your material. And then I can just cut around it. All right guys, so I am done with the reflectix. So I have the reflectix and the cover on the other side, and I've trimmed all the edges. The cool thing about these reflectix is they will roll up. I didn't do a very good job with my hands, but they'll roll up and now they'll store really nice and easy. You can pile them on top of one another. What I will do is I messed up on the measurements so many times. So what I'm gonna do is actually give you guys the final measurements of the base window. You will still need to go in and draw in like your edging on, like for instance, the front windows, also the edging along for your rear view mirror in the windshield, and then also for those motorized components that are in the rear window. So you'll still have to draw those lines out, but you'll have at least a better idea of the pieces that you need to cut so that you can go in and use your Sharpie to outline those areas. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Want to hear from you. If you have not already subscribed, be sure to do so, because we are planning a 16-day trip in the Jeep, camping, sleeping, loving life in the Jeep in September, and we're going to be sharing all of those awesome videos. We'll be going across Utah and Colorado, Moab, the Salt Flats, Canyonlands. It's just going to be a real exciting trip. So be sure to subscribe to our channel, as well as click the bell so you'll get notified when we post new videos. As always, thanks for being here. We appreciate you watching the videos. We appreciate you being a subscriber, and until next time, peace out, my peoples.